Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. That's right. Be in the silence, be here now. Breathe in the silence, rest yourself and receive in the silence. Love comes to you in the silence. Love is all around you. Love here in the silence. Be in the silence. Be here now. Breathe in the silence. Rest yourself and receive in the silence. Love comes to you in the silence. Love is all around you. Love here in the silence. Be in the silence. Be here now. Breathe in the silence. Rest yourself and receive in the silence. Love comes to you in the silence. Love is all around you. Love here in the silence. pleasant for people to dwell together. How good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. Good and pleasant people in peace together. Good and pleasant people in peace together. How good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. How good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way home. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way home. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way home. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
It is the tradition in this church to light a chalice on occasions of great import, and I want to say that Janice and Pete Davis will be lighting our chalice today.
Good morning. We light this flame as our fervent plea to brighten the dark corners of our hearts. We hold this flame, for in it is the promise of warmth for souls grown cold in loss. We light this flame that we might continue to find comfort in its warmth, strength in its light, holiness in its presence. We follow this light that it may illuminate our search for purpose, for meaning and forgiveness. We light this chalice knowing even as this sacred spark of life is extinguished in the ensuing darkness, its light, her light, will still burn bright with memory and hope. We light this flame of life, of love and truth, for the divine promise of healing hearts.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is good to have so many folks here to honor Anne, and I know there are folks joining us on our live stream, as Anne herself so often did for so many of our activities. So we're grateful to have all of you here. I'm Leslie Takahashi. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be part of this gathering. We're gathered this morning to celebrate the life of Ann Pieper, to celebrate her life with the music and the people she loved. And in this space created by those she held most dear, we have the room to hold both sadness at the loss of Anne and also appreciate her deep willingness to engage with so much and so many just as long as she drew breath. So let us begin with the words of Mary Oliver. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this, the fires and the black river of loss whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. This time is set aside for those whose lives were intertwined with Anne's. This time is touched by death, and Anne, who was, among so many other things, a committed grief counselor, would want us to make sure not to run away from the grieving part. But it is also a time to receive her legacy of life. It's large enough to hold both the appreciation for the many ways Anne found to seek meaning and to serve and where she dedicated her time, and also the many relationships which she nurtured and grew. This time is large enough also to hold both joy and sorrow, inevitable when a good life passes from our view. We have come this morning to honor the spirit of life. We have come to honor the bounds of love which hold us tight in times of grief and loss. We have come to honor the beauty and the totality of Ann Pieper.
You are not alone. I am here beside you. You are not alone.
Good morning. I'm Sean Potts. I'm a friend of Anne's. And I want to read a poem called Oneness, written by Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Vietnamese Buddhist Zen master and social activist. And the poem was published in 1993 and is even more poignant now after he passed in 2022. So it's on the back of your program if you want to read along. The moment I die, I will try to come back to you as quickly as possible. I promise it will not take long. Isn't it true? I am already with you as I die each moment. I come back to you in every moment. Just look, feel my presence. If you want to cry, please cry. And know that I will cry with you. The tears you shed will heal us both. Your tears are mine. The earth I tread this morning transcends history. Spring and winter are both present in the moment. The young leaf and the dead leaf are really one. My feet touch deathlessness, and my feet are yours. Walk with me now. Let us enter the dimension of oneness and see the cherry tree blossom in winter. Why should we talk about death? I don't need to die to be back with you.
Dear one, thank you for your love. Dear one, thank you for all you have done. Dear one, thank you for all you have given. Now it's your time to rest. Dear one, thank you for your love. Dear one, thank you for all you have done. Dear one, thank you for all you have given. Now it's your time to rest. Dear one, thank you for your love. Dear one, thank you for all you have done. Dear one, thank you for all you have given. Now it's your time to rest. Dear one, thank you for your love. Dear one, thank you for all you have done. Dear one, thank you for all you have given. Now it's your time to rest.
It is now my great pleasure to share a brief overview of Anne's life, and I want to thank her daughter Debbie for helping me get some of the details right. However, I do need to say, I don't always say this in memorial services and celebrations of life, that Anne herself was very clear about what she wanted said, and we went through this 4 times. So I just want to say that this is also a thank you to Anne for being so specific and doing so much planning. Anne Leonthal Getzley was born in Los Angeles on June 25th, 1941, a fourth-generation Californian whose middle name meant Lily of the Valley. Along with her older brother Jim, Anne went to public schools, and then she went to an all-girls Christian high school. Her early interests included dancing and singing, passions she would keep all of her life. She also liked the challenges she remembered of hula hoops and jumping jacks and double Dutch jump rope. And in high school, she learned to do Filipino dancing between sticks. And as a young person, she discovered some other things. She discovered that she was terrible as a young person at sewing. Nothing ever turned out, she said. And also, she couldn't draw. However, she loved fabrics, and she loved working with cloth because she loved to weave with her mother, who had a big shuttle loom. As a young person, she had a memory of going on the Queen Elizabeth crossing to Europe when she was around 12. She participated in a dance competition that involved dancing with a partner holding a balloon between them. And for a 12-year-old, that would have been pretty exciting, I would think. So she also remembers on that same trip while they were in Germany, she needed to use a restroom and accidentally picked the wrong one, which was quite the embarrassment at that age. Her family was laughing heartily when she came out because they all spoke German, she remembers. And that exposure to languages, German and also French, began a lifelong aptitude of languages for Anne. Because of when her birthday was, she was always the youngest member of her class and was always felt a little socially behind. She remembers often being lonely in grade school. And after college, Anne went to Pomona College. After high school, Anne went to Pomona College, a small liberal arts school where she got to shine and where she majored in philosophy. She went to Denmark through an exchange program, and she fell in love with the country and stayed extra time. And this began a lifelong love of Danish things. Her Danish mother sang nursery rhymes to her, she remembers, and she said, "My Danish mother became a mother to me, and we had that relationship until she died." Anne worked at the University of Southern California as a secretary in the music department after her graduation. When her family moved up here to Northern California, she followed, and one of the places she went to in those early days in Northern California was the International House, where they had line dancing, and where she met Renee, who was getting his PhD at Cal. Anne was working in the philosophy library there and went back for a master's degree in library science. And then she worked at Mills College and told me that it was there that she learned that I love to teach while teaching freshmen how to use the library. A very methodical person, self-declared, she was well suited for library science. Renee and Anne got married in 1966, and it was the same time her father was turning 60, and the honeymooners decided to go to Tokyo. The family decided to take him to Tokyo, and the grandmothers paid for Anne and Renee to go to Tokyo and Hong Kong without him knowing, so it was a surprise. But it was on the way there that they stopped in Hawaii, and Anne developed her lifelong love for Hawaii. There were typhoons on that trip. That was a very momentous trip. And the plane that landed was an Indonesian airline. And so Renee knew the crew, and they put the couple in first class. So when they got to Tokyo, however, one of their rooms had been given away. So the maternal grandmothers shared a room with the newlyweds. Anne got pregnant with the twins at 6 months in 1968, and they were born at 6 months. And Tim died just after birth. And being a partner being a parent of disabled children then started to define her life. In this difficult time, Anne sought solace in the Unity Church, where Renee had roots, and celebrated when Debbie was born in 1971 after a miscarriage, and the family lived together at that time in Orinda. Because of the extent of the disabilities which Tommy was born with, including not having the privilege of speech, Anne could not get babysitters for Tommy, and much of her life revolved around caring for him. And this continued even after he got older and his cares outstripped what she could do at home. So he was living away from home, but she was visiting him every day, she told me. These pressures also were very hard on her marriage, and when the marriage ended, Anne became a single parent, living in Walnut Creek. She went back to Cal State Hayward and became a licensed marriage and family therapist and started in private practice. Debbie and Anne both talked about the fact that they loved to do plays on words that would make them hysterical with laughter, and also lots of arts and crafts and dancing, especially Hawaiian and Polynesian dancing. And because of the structure that caring for Tommy involved, Anne said that she tried to be attentive to times when she as a parent needed to break the rules. So sometimes Debbie was allowed to stay home from school just because she wanted to, or to make chocolate chip cookies at 10 p.m. Tommy died at age 19, and Anne said her life was saved by compassionate friends, which is the connection through which she met Janice and Pete, who lit our chalice today. Anne became a grief counselor and a leader in Compassionate Friends. She spent a few years working at the Mount Diablo Center as a counselor and a supervisor, where she developed a grief curriculum for bereaved parents. The 8-week series was her crowning professional achievement, she told me, more than once. After 40 years at Unity, Anne began to attend here and signed our membership book in August of 2013. However, her spiritual and religious journey, she believed, was all around the same principles. And so I lit a candle before we started the service today to represent the way that all her journeys came together. For her, it was all about one thing. We spent quite a lot of time talking about it because she needed to be in a place that could both honor her Jewish cultural roots and also her embrace of Christianity, which had been so important to her in the years after Tommy's death. Increasingly, though, her spiritual life was through music and the Threshold Choir. And she was an anchor when her friend Pat Gonzalez, whose voice we heard on that first recording of You Are Not Alone, decided to start a group here called the Harmony Singers, which would bring people from this congregation also into the Threshold movement over time. Another great pleasure for Anne were visits from her family, and you never didn't know if they were coming, especially she wanted to introduce you to her grandchildren, Nina and Jackson. You would get weeks or sometimes even months of notice that this was going to occur. Anne served for many years here as a pastoral visitor, accompanying 2 of our longest-serving members at the end of their lives. She also continued to contribute in the community by sewing hundreds of baby clothes and hospital-receiving blankets and quilts. During the pandemic, we started a project here to make cloth masks before the others were available, and she estimates she made several hundred masks during that project. She became a regular attendee through our virtual programming, including the Tuesday and Thursday online lunches and our grief groups and Vespers and women talk groups, as well as many, many others. But most importantly, what she told me was Zoom allowed her to do more Harmony Singers. So it was a very important tool for her to have that. And she was very grateful for that, and to be able to have time with her friends, which was also precious to her, as she increasingly depended on people to help her. In November, Anne fell and couldn't get up and ended up in the hospital in post-acute care and then in a lovely care home that her devoted friend Ariel Owen found for her. And about a month before her death, Anne told me, "I am still teaching. I am still passing on what I am learning." She had a sense of humor, which was wry, and she also had a fear of being alone and incapacitated. So she was so grateful, so grateful to the many, many people, especially Ariel and Sean, who helped make sure the people were with her on a regular basis during those last months. Anne died on May 11th, 2025, following weeks of attentive presence by her family and her friends, Debbie and Nina making special trips across country to be with her. She was so grateful for the singing companions and her church friends as well. A fierce champion of equity and a seer of the unseen, a woman with deep spiritual roots who loved the power of song and to be around singers, a healer and a mentor to many. A song was the last thing that Ann Pieper heard.
Rest in the arms of love now. Breathe deeply, be at peace. Rest here, my precious one. You have come home. Rest in the arms of love now. Breathe deeply, be at peace. Rest here, my precious one. You have come home. Rest in the arms of love now. Breathe deeply, be at peace. Rest here, my precious one. You have come home.
Thank you. And I want to say it's a special gift to have Joe Gelinas, who provides music for our Vesper service, with us today, because Anne rarely missed a Vesper service, so we wanted to honor her in that way. We now have the great honor to hear from those who knew and loved Anne, her family. So let us take a moment to receive these gifts.
I didn't get a chance to print out what I wanted to say, so you're going to have to put up with me reading it off my phone. Much smaller print. So those of you who knew my mom, and that should be everybody here, right, probably knew that she was a planner. So the 10:30 p.m. cookie episode that she mentioned was definitely a memorable moment, because we did not do that type of spontaneous stuff. She always made sure to be well prepared for whatever was coming up on the horizon, whether that meant arriving in plenty of time. My family will know if you're on time, you're late. Whether that meant so for an event or an appointment, or having items laid out and ready to go the night before if she needed to bring them somewhere, or back when she still traveled, taking a week to start throwing things into a bag. It even meant scheduling phone calls. My first year in college, the dorm still had hall phones, which some of you may remember from your own college years. Naturally, my mother wanted to boost the chances of my actually being around to answer the phone if she would call, and so we would arrange twice weekly phone calls, and I'd make sure that I'd be in the dorm and ready to answer at those times. But this continued for the next 30-odd years, even when I had my own extension in my dorm room, a home with an answering machine, and eventually a cell phone with voicemail, and could easily have called her back if she'd missed me. But if I was having a hard time, whether that meant being overwhelmed with coursework or struggling with a difficult relationship or really anything, I knew that I could call her if I needed to talk to her between those scheduled calls, and she would drop everything and listen. And this even included those times when I really needed her and it wasn't 7 p.m. yet, for those of you who remember when calls used to be a lot more expensive during the day. If I needed to call her and I would be like, I'm sorry, I know it's only 3, she'd be like, forget it, just call, When I married into a family for whom keeping a schedule was not one of their strengths, she often boggled at how I could be so cavalier about what time guests were expected or what time particular events might occur. Over the years, I relaxed more for them, and my in-laws, to their credit, have tried harder to work closer in a schedule for me. But I digress. The point is that despite my mom being the consummate planner, she was nonetheless willing to shuffle her life around if I needed her at odd hours. For all the differences we may have developed as I got older, one thing I never doubted, and that was her total love and support for me and my family, and I only need pick up the phone to prove it. As we get older, a common refrain is, "Oh no, I'm turning into my parent," whether that be physical or character traits. And while I won't deny that there have been some ways where I've been forging my own path, one thing that I really strove for was to be as involved and supportive a mom to my own kids as my mom was for me. You know, there's nothing like becoming a parent yourself to suddenly appreciate how much work your own parents may have been putting into raising you. I was exceptionally aware of this, knowing that my mom had been a single mother for most of my life. You know, I was desperately thankful when my husband would come home from work and could spell me for a little bit. So how my mom managed me from preschool onward with very little time for a break is really beyond me, because she was always there. She was there when I was sick, when I had a tantrum, which was thankfully not often because I was an angel, when I had friends over to play, or when I had a hard time with something. She took me to the airport at ungodly hours. She taught me how to sew and do other crafts. She supported my after-school activities. She helped me study for tests. She took me traveling and taught me skills that I would need for adulthood, like how to read food labels or calculate tips, how to drive, and, like it or not, how to do chores. It was from my mom that I knew parenting could be achieved without spanking, where I learned that living more simply from day to day meant more money for fun things later, where I learned that kids having a buy-in on something that they really wanted meant that they would value it more than if it was just handed to them, where I learned that some extra little treats or privileges for a sick kid can make a big difference, and that making memories through annual traditions and special vacations could last a lifetime. Even now that my kids are adults, I find that my mom's example is still with me, being ready to listen, to try to offer support, while still letting them make their own decisions, and fostering independence, while still being available to offer financial assistance or treats for food at times. I'm not sure my kids will agree that I'm always exceeding at these things, but I'm trying. I'm sure that many of you today will be reflecting on her kindness and caring because she was just that kind of person. But being raised by her and seeing her interact with my husband and children has been a special gift all its own, and I will be forever grateful. And thank you to all of you for coming today.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Nina, Anne's granddaughter. Thank you all for being here today to honor my grandma's life. I know how much each and every one of you meant to her. Thank you for being a part of her community, and I want to extend an extra heartfelt thanks to those who were there at the end, making sure she felt safe and loved. My grandma has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. She always told me it was love at first sight, and we've always had a special bond since the day she held me for the first time at Philadelphia International Airport. But over the past 5 years, our relationship has truly grown. Almost every week since March of 2020, we've held a weekly Zoom. I started doing this at the beginning of the pandemic because I didn't want her to be lonely since so much of her social life had come to a halt. I'm sure many of you were familiar with this arrangement, and she made sure to let people know when she was going to be out of commission for that hour because it was special time with her granddaughter. And my friends were also privy to this arrangement and knew not to schedule something during my weekly Zoom with Gam Gam. During this time, I got to know her on a deeper level, and I'm forever grateful for this precious time we spent together. As I updated her on my life, she was often doing a majority of the listening. She was someone who knew how to take a step back and listen and make others feel heard and validated. She's been there for me for some of my hardest moments, such as when I went off to college, graduated college, and was transitioning to post-grad life, helping me mourn the loss of a high school friend, and even helping me process and prepare for her death. She'd offer a listening ear and a "how can I best support you," which I'm sure which she has said to many of you. Through this, she taught me the power of listening. She once said to me, "Listening is healing," and this is something that has stuck with me for many years. She showed me what a strong woman looks like and how to forge my own path. She was strong enough to stop generational traumas so her daughter and grandchildren would never have to live through the struggles that she did. She always encouraged me to talk about, quote, the hard stuff and be honest even when it was challenging, and to always, always, always advocate for myself and others when something wasn't right. The one thing I will never doubt is the love she had. Stepping into her house was like stepping into her heart. Every wall, bookshelf, and mantle are filled with mementos from those that she loved. In her living room, she has a painting that my mom did for her. In her kitchen, a poem that I wrote when I was in elementary school, and a drawing of a penguin, which is my brother's favorite animal from when he was little. In her hallway, she has collages of her favorite photos of her brother and late relatives. In her computer room, unfinished sewing projects that were going to be given to local charities. She ended every phone call, Zoom, text, voicemail, card, visit, you name it, with an I love you. And my last visit with her in May was no different. We both knew this was going to be the last time we were going to talk to each other in this lifetime, and she took it as an opportunity once again to reiterate her unconditional love for me. Even though her person is no longer with us, her love most certainly is. In honor of her life, I implore each and every one of you to live as boldly as she did. Thank you all.
Well, Anne was a mother and a grandmother, but to me, she'll always be my baby sister. So if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm her brother. I've known Anne most of my life. Obviously, I wasn't in the delivery room. But Anne had some painful experiences from the get-go. We had a horrible nanny named Trudy. I just call them Trudy's terrible torture treatments that both Anne and I had to endure. We moved from North Weatherly to North Crescent just before World War II. I have memories of Anne and pigtails, roller skating outside her house. We used to climb on the carport roof, which Mom did not approve of. We used to settle arguments by slamming the door between our rooms. I was rather looked down on, too. We learned to make waffles for Sunday. We made junket. And people who don't know junket, it's basically Jell-O made with milk. She went to the Charisse Ballet School for several years. It wasn't run by Sid Charisse, it was run by her husband. Well, some other stories. We used to go camping up in Barton Flats near San Gorgonio. And one morning we all got up for breakfast, everyone except Anne. And nobody could find Anne anywhere. We looked all over the meadow, her sleeping bag. Finally, somebody saw a tiny lump at the bottom of the sleeping bag, and that was Anne. I guess up in Atherton, we have more memories. We used to go with our grandfather when he caught the train, pick him up again in the evening. We used to follow our grandmother around as she picked flowers and arranged flowers. We used to pick up chicken eggs. Once in a while, our grandfather would practice golf behind the cottage, so we'd pick up golf balls for him. We go swimming with her grandparents. We pick blackberries Friday evening for Sunday blackberry ice cream. We get supplies and Oreo cookies for Sunday. We wander through the orchards, picking ripe fruit and green almonds. And then we went to the Menlo Circus Club for horseback riding lessons. And up in San Francisco, we were originally relegated to the farthest room in the house, which was Madeline's room, because children should be seen and not heard. They wanted to make sure we weren't heard. We were relegated to the back stairs so we didn't get the front stairs dirty. We used to go walking after breakfast down Franklin Street to Sacramento. And at that time, there was a Sacramento cable car. So we used to watch that, and then in the afternoon, we walked to the park above Gulf Street. And on occasion, my great-grandfather had an apartment on Gulf Street. We'd go and visit him too. But it wasn't much of a visit because our parents would visit with him and there'd be a lot of laughter behind closed doors in the next room. We were relegated to playing with poker chips. No, I didn't learn how to play poker that way. We did, I think the first trip we did alone was a train trip from Oakland Mole to West Yellowstone overnight. We planned to eat on the train, but there wasn't any dining car on the train. So we found out that the local eatery was about a block away. It had to be the original Greasy Spoon. So Ann didn't eat anything. I ate a little bit. So that was a long night. In Europe, I'll tell one story. Debbie's heard it a lot of times. Our arrival in Paris, our grandparents were already in Paris. We arrived in Paris on a Sunday. Mom had a letter of credit with plenty of money on it, but she forgot the banks were closed on Sundays. So we barely had enough money to buy a baguette of French bread and cheese, and basically arrived in Paris penniless. Fortunately, her father was waiting out in front of the hotel because we couldn't even tip the bellboy. We traveled together in Norway. We took the coastal steamer, the Håkon Jarl, from Bergen to North Cape and back. Saw the Northern Lights in white. Rode the train to Oslo. We had adjoining rooms in Oslo with a microscopic bathroom between us, the size of a small shower stall. So you do the 3 S's without moving. And one of our most memorable occasions was actually the spur of the moment thing. We ran into a group that was going to a mock wedding ceremony in a stave church. They had this huge banquet laid out, and afterwards we sang Norwegian songs in Norwegian. And that memory stayed with us all this time. Anyway, we kind of lost touch with each other after that. We saw each other for over the holidays. When I started working, I left home and Ann moved up north. And she was thrilled to be carrying Tim and Tom. Didn't realize how much that was going to change her life. And of course, the family was thrilled when Debbie was born. So, anyway, Ann's crossed the Rainbow Bridge now. Thanks.
My name is Ariel, and I am a friend of Ann Pieper. So there were words with Ann that really struck me. Loyal, inclusive, consistent, persistent, equity, bodily autonomy, very funny. She and I did nonviolent communication together. And have you ever met anyone that sang at her own memorial? No. I'm so impressed. I'm telling you, wow. And this is entirely Ann's planning. I mean, she did this whole thing, and Leslie, in her generosity, said, "Oh, okay, that works." Ann was insistent on equity. Everybody deserves access. And it is not a question, it is a fact. And if you have issue with that, let's talk. We were talking at dinner last night about, she did have scheduled calls, and if you were a minute late, I'd get a text. I thought we had a call scheduled. Oh, shit, we did, okay. And I come from the same household of if you are on time, you are late. And the man I married thought that on time was anywhere from a half hour to an hour late. We nearly stopped dating because of that. And, you know, Anne was always very generous with her time. And she was the one friend that I could call anytime, day or night, and the only friend that I could bring some things to. That's a loss. But she would always say, how can I best support you? What do you need? And I take that from her into my own life. I had the honor of being Anne's death doula, which, for those of you who don't know, we start planning way out here, talking about all the paperwork of death. And then as we start to approach death, Anne's biggest concern was I'll be alone. And Sean and I worked very closely together to make sure that did not happen. And here's a testament to all of you. You made sure she was not alone. You all came and sat with her and held her hand and sang to her and met that need of not having her be alone as she died. And Leslie and I did sing to her as she died. Her desire to heal her trauma was profound and constant. All I want is to be free of this. And I think she made it. I think she made it when I look at her family. I think she made it when I look at the generosity and kindness and compassion and humor and empathy they bring into their lives, and none of that detritus that came from before. We are so lucky to have had Anne in our lives. We are so fortunate. And I will tell you that Anne visits me at 4:44 in the morning. Now, that is not a number that's ever come up for me before. I am one of those postmenopausal women. I do wake at very odd hours, but 4:44 is a little too specific for me. Anne passed at 11:44 on the 11th, and that 4:4 has been moving with me as she has passed. She lives in my heart. She lives in my soul. Because Anne was tenacious. You didn't just kind of know Anne. Anne crawled right in there and said, hey, pay attention. You have a wonderful, rich, beautiful opportunity here. Grab it. And so my invitation to you is when you're missing Anne, find where she lives within you, because she is still there. There's going to be a hole, and when I came in this morning, I wanted to thank the Threshold Choir, and I burst into tears. I'm sorry. But those tears are important, because grief is love with no place left to go. And if you are grieving her, that's good. That's right. Because you love her, and she loved you. And that's the most important piece, right? It's love. 100% accepting, 0% judgment. And loved unreservedly. So thank you. Oh, and I've been asked to read something. I almost forgot. Sorry. This is from Linda Chrisman, a very loving and deeply held a friend of hers. I am sorry I cannot be present to celebrate Anne's life with all of you who loved her. Anne asked me to speak at her memorial and then asked that I send a statement when it seemed likely I would be out of the country. Being Anne, she even advised me as to what I should say. See, she's still here. I knew Anne for over 11 years in a professional capacity. During that time, we met weekly or twice weekly. I witnessed her struggles and her physical and emotional pain. I also saw her resolve to face her fears and anger and to heal from her past. Anne was determined to face down her demons. She did so with grit, grace, and a wicked sense of humor. As long as she was alive, she wanted to live as fully as possible. And when she felt her work was complete, she was determined not to linger. Her steadfast resolve and courage to speak the truth has been an inspiration to me, as I know it has been to many others. To Anne and to all of you, I leave you with the traditional words of encouragement and rejoicing spoken on pilgrimage routes throughout Spain. Ultria et sucea. Keep going, and keep going even farther and higher. Buen camino. May you have a good journey.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love watch over you. Let my love wash over you.
I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love wash over you. I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love wash over you.
What a beautiful tribute from Anne's friends. And now we will hear from others of her friends.
Today we're celebrating the life, the very, very rich life of Ann Pieper. And I've been asked to share my time with her so that you might get a better sense of how she has been a friend to many of us, a beautiful voice for many of us. When I first met Ann, she was always using her sturdy, steadfast walker, a perfect metaphor for her life these past 10 years that I've known her. She joined the Diablo Valley Threshold Singers, where I sang. I also led rehearsals for several years. I can't tell you exactly when Ann joined us, but the pictures and the recording are from 2016 and 2017. As you can tell, when Ann sings, there's a clear, bell-like voice of an angel that lands on the top in the harmony. She didn't really read music, so she must have or have had an amazing ear. And even with that sweet voice, she could blend beautifully. As she continued to sing with our Threshold group, eventually she was able to hold her own and contribute to her own harmony in most beautiful ways, and singing with her was always a joy. She said that we helped her, Pat and I, the other person in the images and in the singing, Pat Gonzalez, she said we helped her find her voice. Those of you who know her are surprised that she might have ever said that, just checking in here. Anne lived an amazing and full life, and from what I understand, not all of it had been easy. Her past experiences with difficulties and grief led her to have a very strong will and an awareness of what she needed with what she wanted. She was trained in nonviolent communication and tried her best to use it, and generally she was able to tell us and let us know what she wants. There may be those among us who had trouble with her sense of self and clarity, which is often the case with a strong-willed woman. For example, her car had on the bumper sticker, "Women make great leaders. You're following one now." I was always impressed with how Anne was able to build from her personal and ongoing grief to serve others with grief counseling and to sing. Her levels of empathy are so strong that sometimes she lost the balance within herself, as she made sure others in the family or group were cared for first. Finally, she did learn to receive as well as give in the beauty of song. One of the things I always appreciated about Anne is her awareness of other cultures. She and I shared recollections of visiting and time spent in Denmark, and she has family ties to the Netherlands and Asia, all of which keep her grounded beyond the United States. This is an awareness that I find critical at any time, especially these days. As I end here, I just wanted to say it's been an ongoing journey for this chapter of life with Anne, and in these recent months, I have shared her steps as she moves to the next realm, to the extent that one can via telephone and Zoom. Thus, I was able to join in singing for her, and you'll hear some of us in the near future as part of this service. Just take a moment and breathe and send Anne and her family all your love and compassion.
Hi, I'm Mary Helen Binger. I was a friend of Anne's, and I want to share just a few of those moments with you. But it's been such a pleasure I've learned so much about Anne just being here and with all of the things that you've shared. It's too bad we don't have services like this before someone passes. I would like to have known so many of these things about Anne while she was still alive, but thank you for sharing it now. I think Anne and I joined MDUUC about the same time in 2013, and I connected with her in a 12-step group which we both attended. I know that Anne loved to sew, and I do too. She made many baby clothes and bibs that she sold at church auctions and that were given away. They were lovely. And in 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, we started making masks, and I didn't bring them up here, but I found some of the pieces of the masks I can show you afterwards, that we and the directions for putting the masks together. And I know Anne made more masks than anybody else in the church. I looked all around to see if I could find some of the finished masks. It would be fun to take a look at them after graduating to the N95 and KN95 masks. But you know, in the early days, that's all we had. So, and they were much more colorful. Every one was different. So I'll show you the bits that I have afterwards. On Zoom calls, you could see Anne's love of fabric because she did her Zoom calls from her sewing room, and in the back you could see all of her fabrics, which was really a delight. I learned that she was sick after a phone call, and visited her then in the hospital and in the Shadelands facility that she was in, and then in the last couple of months in the board and care where she was. And it was it was such a privilege to be able to just sit and hold her hand, knowing that that was important to her. And I'm so glad for Sean and Ariel for organizing us so well so that we knew when we could visit, when we were needed, and I was glad to have that time with Anne. I remember the last time I was with her, I think maybe you were there. Yeah. And Anne was not responsive, and I realized that she was probably hours away from death. And looking back at that time, I realized that was part of her gift to me. I think most of us who've been healthy and have not had a lot of death and dying in our families and in our lives need reminders of our own mortality. And it's made me grateful that I had that time with Anne and the reminder of how precious my healthy living body is right now. And because I'm aging like many of the rest of you, a time will come when I don't have this sort of robust time. So I'm grateful for the reminder that I can honor that now. So thank you all for coming, and I'm just so grateful that so many of you have been willing to share times with Anne. Thank you.
And as we come towards the end of our formal time of remembering Anne and her life of care and service, we know that our remembering and celebrating, noting and grieving will continue beyond the bounds of this particular time. So we know that, as Ariel said, we've taken Anne into our own hearts now. So we'll just watch now some images that Debbie and her family put together. And as the poet reminds us, the very best thing we can do, both in grieving and in supporting others in their grief, is to articulate the ways in which the one who has been lost to us will be carried forward in their living. This is the great challenge in the face of loss. Can we make of our lives altars to our dead, and so through our lives continue to give them life? So let us watch these images of Anne's life.
Every time I go into the darkness, I return with fistfuls of jewels. Every time I go into the darkness, I return with fistfuls of jewels. Every time I go into the darkness, I return with fistfuls of jewels. Every time I go into the darkness, I return with fistfuls of jewels. Every time I delve into the darkness all around me, I return. Stars glitter brilliant above. Every time I delve into the darkness all around me, I return. Stars glitter brilliant above. Every time I delve into the darkness all around me, I return. Stars glitter brilliant above. Every time I delve into the darkness all around me, I return. Stars glitter brilliant above. Every time I go into the darkness all around me, I return. Stars glitter brilliant above. Every time I go into the darkness all around me, I return. Stars glitter brilliant above. Every time I delve into the darkness all around me, I return. Stars glitter brilliant above. Every time I go into the darkness all around me, I return. Stars glitter brilliant above. Every time I go into the darkness, I return with fistfuls of light. Dreaming darkness, dreaming light.
What a beautiful service and designed. And there will be more stories and more things we will want to share, and there are refreshments in our hall which you can get to by going out to the right and over. And I just want to end this more formal time of remembering Anne with this reading by Donna Markova, who was a counselor and an author. And I'll ask after we do this, as Joe plays us just a little bit more music, that we allow Anne's family to leave first so that they can come to the hall as people arrive, before people arrive. These are the words of Donna Markova. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. May we all allow the gifts of Ann Pieper to bear fruit in us.